Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering price book basics. This webinar will cover a price book overview, and then we will get into price book setup, setting up your categories, your pricing defaults, your warranties, job form preferences, and then how to add products from your price book to proposals and invoices, how to create an invoice, and how to upload a price book if you do have a file to upload. We'll do a live Q&A at the end where you'll be able to get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's dive into WEX FSM. All right, so I always like to begin with the end in mind. So we are going to go over how to build your price book from scratch. But before we do that, let's take a look at what that will look like and feel like when you're using your price book on your jobs. Now, right now, I'm on a job. We're on the job page for my customer, Justin. And I'm just going to click New under Invoices and Payments. And you can create proposals, you can create invoices. And when you do, you will be able to access your price books that you have in your system. When you click Add Item, that will bring up your price book options. And this is sort of the end goal that we will be working towards today is building out a price book where now I'm on an invoice. I want to be able to see all of my products in my system that I will sell to my customer. From Pricebook is going to be the integrated WEX FSM price book. That's what we will show you steps on how to build today. From Flat Rate Pricebook is from Profit Rhino. This is an add-on subscription. And if you feel at the end of today that building out a price book manually is going to take a lot of time, and you're worried you might not get to it because of how busy you are, if you sell flat rate pricing, this is an amazing feature, an upgrade to your subscription, and this will enter in a category, or sorry, a catalog of flat rate price book items by industry, and it has the names, the model numbers, the descriptions, pricing for both residential and commercial that you can see on the fly. And it saves a ton of time. It allows you to just instantly have a price book available for flat rate pricing. It also updates the prices from Profit Rhino, so you always know that the pricing is correct and not outdated as well. If you are syncing to QuickBooks, this will show you your QuickBooks item list. And maybe that is what you've been using for years. You know and love the items in your QuickBooks item list. This will be a one-to-one list of the items in your item list in QuickBooks. We also have searchable folders. So if you click on Pricebook folders, we can see I have a bunch of folders all organized nice and neat. Am I doing an install? I would go to the installs folder. What kind of install? Let's say I'm installing a furnace. I would go to my furnace installs folder. Once I find the items I want, I select them and click add item, and they add right to my job form. So that's just an overview. You're going to be able to have different price books in here as long as you have the subscription or the connection to these. You'll have a way to navigate either by searching for items or searching through folders. And we're going to remember this. We're going to think back to what this looks and feels like as we're building out our price book in the system. Okay. So now let's actually talk about setting up your price book from scratch. And there is a very specific order of operations that we recommend doing this. Number one, you will want to set up your categories first. And so let's start by going to more applications, price book, my price book categories. And so the terminology that we use is categories. So these are all called categories and subcategories. But I like to think of these as folders, digital file folders that you will put your price book items into. And this is the organization that your field technicians and those who are creating invoices, this is the organization that they will see when they're searching for products. So I have created a general main folder or top level category. To create a top level category, you will click the red button and then put in the name of the main folder, the top level category that you want. You can see I have an example here. I made a general folder, an installs folder. Maybe you want to separate these by brand. Maybe you want a folder that just includes your maintenance charges when you go and do maintenance visits. Whatever it is, set this up to your preference. And each top level category you create will allow you to also make subfolders. So if I click the plus sign here, I can create a subcategory and hit add. And I have done this here, so I added up parts, service, bundles, and discounts. These will be in alphabetical order. So if you want these to be in a specific order, you can notice there's some numbers here. That's just something I've added personally. And that allowed me to have these in a specific order when I'm looking at them. If you don't care about that, you just put the name and they will just be in alphabetical order when you set these up here. But this is step number one. Do this first. We'll see why that's important in just a second when we're adding our items. So make your categories. As a reference, those categories, when you're on an invoice, will be here when you click on folders. And if you notice, here are my folders: general, installs, brands, maintenance. That correlates to the way you set your categories up on this page. All right. Also, I think I saw Shelby join. What's up, Shelby? Welcome. Glad to have you. Okay. So once you get your categories set and finished, we will move on to pricing defaults. That's the next thing. So step two, go to more applications, price book, pricing defaults. The pricing defaults page, this is going to be the defaults for different pricing strategies in your system. You have the standard price. So when I add an item to my invoice from the price book, it will automatically be the standard price. Let's say it's a part. That part will be whatever the cost is, which is how much I pay for the item, times the markup. So in this case, 1.5 markup. And in this scenario, an item that costs me $100 will then cost the customer, I will charge my customer $150. Now, this is just a baseline. So you'll set this part's markup multiplier to the general markup that you have for your the way you run your business. But each item, as you add them, you can update the markup. So if you need to sort of tier out markups, you would just do that in the moment as you're adding the items to your price book. This is just meant to be a general baseline, so it has something to input when you add it for the first time. And we'll see how this works. We'll see this kind of in context when we get to adding items to our price book. A couple things to note here as well. We have maintenance plan pricing and then 3 custom modifiers. The maintenance plan price, the way this works, if you run a maintenance plan program, I sell a maintenance plan to my customer, they will then become a maintenance plan customer in WEX FSM. Now, if I do a job for them, any job I do moving forward, it will recognize that they're a maintenance plan customer and give them the maintenance plan price, which in context of just running a great maintenance plan program, you want to incentivize your customers to sign up. So not only are you going to get great service, we're going to come and check your systems and, we may be able to prevent costly repairs in the future. In addition to that, any job we do for you, even unrelated to maintenance plans, we're going to give you a 10% discount for being part of our Comfort Club plan. However you want to twist that or, spell that out for your customers, this is a great tool for selling maintenance plans. If I know that by being part of your maintenance plan program, I'm getting a discount, that might be the reason why I sign up. Then friends and family discount, military discount. I've just added these. These are percentage discounts that I can apply when I create my jobs. And then when I create proposals and invoices, it will take on the new percentage that I select. Then I also included after hours, where this would be a price increase, not a discount. And that would be it's late on a Saturday. I get an emergency call. This is considered an after hours call. I create the appointment, which makes the job. I change the pricing default on the job to after hours. And now I just go, I do the work, and when I invoice, it will take on the after hours pricing since I changed it to that. We'll see an example of that on a job in a second as well. The most important part of this is to know how this works in terms of updating. And it says right here in exclamation, there's an exclamation point. We want you to know this information. Any changes made below to the pricing default section will take effect when creating new products in the price book. Existing products in the price book will remain unchanged and need to be updated manually. What does that mean? If you come in here and set all of these percentages, you're going to set your markup, your maintenance plan pricing, your three modifiers. Then you go to your price book, you start making price book items. Those items will take on these pricing strategies. 2 months from now, you realize, oh, I need to raise my rates a little bit, so I'm gonna raise my markup. You come in, you update the parts markup multiplier. It will not update on the current items in your price book. It will only update for net new items you're adding after that. That's going to maintain the historical record of pricing that you currently set. However, if you do want that to apply to all of your price book items, that is a simple service request. You just submit that via customer support. So a scenario here would be I'm going to update my parts markup multiplier from 1.5 to 1.6. Then I will reach out to customer care, click on the help center, the smiley face guy, contact support, and you just let them know, hey, I just updated my parts markup multiplier, and I would like that to apply to all items in my price book. They will do that for you. It typically takes between 24 and 48 hours, and then that will update your entire price book. But I have seen it before where you come in, you make an update, you think that it's updating for everything, but it's not. And now you're adding your pricing without the update. So just make sure that you are aware of that and you know how that works. Any changes you make to here, if you want it to apply to your to your previous items, make sure you submit that request via support. Also, we have labor defaults down here as well. So what are your hourly costs? What's your hourly rate? Put that in. Cost, of course, is how much it costs you for 1 hour of service. And then hourly rate is going to be what you charge your customer, the rate that you charge. Okay. And so again, we want to do this first. This is well, in our steps here, this is done second, but you want to do this before you add items to your price book, so they will take on these settings here. Okay. Next, we are gonna look at warranties. If you do offer any warranties, you will go to More Applications, Price Book, Warranties. And then if you offer warranties, you will click New Warranty. You can choose whether it is a parts warranty or a labor warranty. You'll set the name of the warranty, the length, and a description if wanted, and click Save. Once you do, you will be able to put all of your warranties in this list. And when you are adding items to your price book, you can attach warranties to the equipment as it makes sense to do so. Then, when I add an item that has a warranty attached in the price book to my job forms, the warranty will just automatically be included. You don't have to think about it. But it does require you to set this up first. If you want to offer a warranty, got to add it to this page first. All right. And then the final settings that we're going to set up before we get into actually adding items to the price book is make sure your job preferences are set to what you like. So to do that, we'll go to Settings, Jobs, Job Preferences. The job preferences page, this is where you are going to determine what your proposals and invoices look like, what information is included. And so, do you want the location name, the model number, the unit prices, maintenance plan savings, billing address name, product number, and line item amounts and quantities to show when you present your proposals and invoices? So maybe for you, when you're in build mode, you will see all of these items because you want to see those. This is more for when you go into present mode. What will this show your customer? For example, I need to know the model number so I can order the part that I need, but I don't want my customer to know the model number because I don't want them spot checking prices and having an opinion on that. So instead, I will hide the model number. And then even if the model number is included in that price book item, it will just hide that from the customer when we present our document. And you can choose that for any of these. So this is up to you, personal preference. Maybe you need the model number for a commercial customer that requires you to put that. Whatever it is, set those here and always make sure you click Save. Okay. Now we are ready to add our items and build our price book. So we set our foundation. We got our categories set up. So we have folders to put our items into. We set up our pricing default so we know on our jobs what pricing we're using. We set up our warranties in case we have equipment that comes with warranties or labor that we do. We've got our preferences set. Now, let's go to More Applications, Price Book, My Price Book. So this is the price book page. This is where you will spend most of your time. This is an admin page that allows you to add items, add products to your price book. And since we already created our folders, our categories, they're right here. So this is nice. If you do it in this uh, order, now when we go to add our items, they already have a home. They already have a category to fit into, which is nice. When you click Add product. That allows you to add an item, but we do need to select a product type first. Single part only is going to be for your parts and equipment. Labor or service only will be for your labor, trip charges, things like that. Product bundle, this is a multi-item group. This allows you to create a bundle and pull in parts and labor together. So you can create your own custom flat rate items or maybe put pieces of equipment together to make a system package for installs. And then discounts. These are going to be like your coupons. These are dollar amount discounts, $10 off, $25 off, friends and family, whatever it is. You can set that here. So let's make a single part only. So we're going to click single part only. And then from here, you'll enter the details. Everything's pretty self-explanatory, but let's call out a few things. So enter your product name. Let's say we're making just a general part. You can upload a photo if you want. Categories, this drop down, this is now organizing where do I want this to live so I can find it later when I'm creating my invoices. So general part, I would say this would go to our general parts folder. Account, this is the income account that I want the revenue for this item to sync to in QuickBooks. So I would select income job for that. Put a description. This will be customer facing. So this is what the customer sees. And then we have our cost. This is asking how much does it cost you to pay for this item? Let's say that this costs $100. My markup is here, so it already applied the markup. Now I don't have to think about it. The standard price is set. However, maybe I know that for this general part, it is a little more expensive. So I will take this and change this to 170 and it will just update the markup for me. So you can change the markup, you can change the price, the cost. These are all editable fields and they are individual and unique to this item and will not change my standard pricing. Do you want to charge tax? Yes or no? You can turn that on or off here. And then pricing strategies. Now, this part is very important. All right. So, exclamation point on what I'm about to say. You can get to control what discounts you want to offer per item. So, setting this up here makes it way more efficient and faster when you're adding these items in the field. And let's say that for this part, I want all of these to apply. The maintenance plan pricing, if this is turned on, it will automatically apply the maintenance plan price because that is just a way that the system works. If I did not want the maintenance plan to apply, I would turn that off. Maintenance plan price will attach automatically. However, friends and family, military, anything that you set here, these will only be available if these are turned on. So for this example, for my part, I do want these to apply. I want the maintenance plan price to apply if they're a maintenance plan customer, and I want to be able to have the other ones available when it's time to choose that. However, well, for this, you would click save. Once you do that, it will save that item where you told it to. But now let's add a labor item, and I don't want discounts applied to my labor item. So I will do add product, do the drop down, and labor or service only. And let's say that this is going to be general labor. I will save this in my general service folder. My income account, maybe I want this to be income repair labor. And then same thing here, cost. How much does it cost to pay my technician for 1 hour of this labor? And then the standard price is what we would charge the customer. So this is saying if I add this labor product, it'll be $150. If I change the quantity to two, now we are upping that standard price per hour. So I like to think of the quantity counter as how many hours worked, and you can just set your labor pricing with this product. However, I do not want to apply any discounts to my labor. So I'm going to turn the pricing strategies off for this item. If I add my part, the pricing strategy will apply. If I add my labor, the pricing strategy will not apply. So the thing to know here is that every item that you add, you can then determine how you want these discounts to interact when they're added to the proposals and invoices. You can favorite items with the heart in the top here. Favorite items come in handy when you use the same item over and over again. Let's say I'm always using this general labor. If I turn on the favorites, when I go to search for that items, I can toggle by favorites and all my favorite items will just show up. And then in additional details, this does allow you to add warranties. So the warranties that we talked about, maybe I have a 30-day service labor warranty I want to add to this. Just select it here. Then when I add this item to my proposals and invoices, the warranty is already applied. I don't have to think about it. So you can save yourself some time by attaching warranties to applicable items when creating them. Okay. And so, you would click save, you would see that saved in your price book. But now, what if I want to create a bundle, something that has multiple items? To do this, you will click Add Product, click the drop down, and let's select Product Bundle Multi-Item Group. Now, the way that this works, think about the bundle almost like a basket, and then I would need to take, my apples, my oranges, my individual items to fill the basket. Kind of the same concept here. We have individual items that need to exist first, and then we are just picking these to put them into the bundle. So you're not able to create a bundle with no items and make a bundle by itself. You would need those individual items first. So we know that we have a general part. So I just am going to search for that item. So here it is. This is the part I want to add. Let's do general part one. That's the one we did today. Let's say that there's an item you don't have. You can just click add new part and add it. It will add this to your price book and then also add it to the bundle. But we've already created our general item. Oops, I hit the wrong button. So we're going to do general part. You can select multiple items as well if you're maybe creating a bundle of equipment. Search through all the individual pieces of equipment and add them. So this is another way to make a bundle is to, instead of creating like a flat rate item, you could just make an item that includes all equipment in one. For today's example, we'll just do our general part, add our labor. Maybe I'm looking for that general labor we made. There we go. And once you have your parts and your labor selected, we can select Create Product Bundle. And now this is exactly like the other products. You'll add your product name. Maybe this is a, furnace install. Set your categories. I would like this to be saved in my bundles folder. Build out the description so your customer knows what this includes. And then we have our standard price. And what's nice about bundles is that you will always be able to see the individual components and what those prices are and details. But when you show your customer, they're just going to see the product name and the description and the price. So it makes it very simple for you to have a lot of different layers inside the bundle, and then very simple for your customer. They'll just see, oh, you did a furnace install, it's 350 bucks, makes sense. Cool. Click save. That will then save that into the folder you selected here. And last but not least, we have discounts. So add product. Let's go to discount. And this is a dollar amount discount. So maybe I want to just have a $10 discount in my back pocket in case I need it. And then here, just make sure you do click the minus sign to make sure that is subtracting $10. And then, where do I want this saved? Maybe it goes in my discounts folder, and then that will be job income. I don't want taxes to apply, and save. Once you are on an invoice, you will be able to pull that as a discount. Okay, let me check my notes here. I think that is good. Yep, and we're doing great on time. So at this point now, we've got our folders. We've got our items. I made sure my pricing defaults were set first, so I know if I change the pricing, it's going to apply to these items. If not, I just reach out to customer care, say, hey, please update my pricing, to apply to my entire price book. And now it's time to use this in context. How will we actually use the price book with our customers with the jobs that we're doing? So let's go to a job. And then to add items, you need to create a job form first. So you could create a proposal or an invoice. Let's create a new invoice by clicking new. And because of the groundwork that we did, the foundation that we set, this process is very smooth. I create an invoice. I click add item. If I know exactly what I'm looking for, I want a general part. It pulls up, select it, add it. Simple. I can also click add item and search through my folders. So that's where those categories that you made, this is where this comes in handy. I know that, maybe this is an install and I just want to select the equipment for the install. Maybe this is a bundle and I will go to my bundles folder and let's do a big old install. And there you go. So you can search, you can look through your categories, and you can add items. Once an item has been added from your price book to the invoice or to the job form, it becomes unique. So any updates I need to make to this, I can just click on the title. I can update this pricing and click update, and that is good to go. And then if I want to add labor, oh, yeah, general service. Let's do general labor. This is saying this is quantity of one for $200. Let's say we worked for 3 hours. So now that will track 200 times 3 to give us the full amount of labor charge for the customer. And if you notice, the savings is applying to these items because they have the savings turned on. It's not applying to my labor because I have the savings for that turned off. Now, if you want to make any adjustments to that pricing, you can go to pricing settings and change the pricing strategy here. So that would be, you're talking to the customer. Oh, I just realized you are in the military. So let's apply the military discount and click save. and it adjusts those numbers for you. Okay. We've got our items set here. We know how to update the quantity. We know how to update the item itself. We know that that is a unique change for this job form, and we're ready to go. I am now going to charge the customer for this. And this savings section, especially if it's a bigger job, is really nice. So we let the customer know the savings that they got and what the price will be, and we can come down and present. Once you're in present mode, it just cleans it up a little bit. You can show this to your customer, let them know what they're being charged for, and then you can take payment. Pay Now will process through WEX FSM and send the money straight to your bank account. Record payment is not going to process through WEX FSM. That is more for if you're processing outside of WEX FSM. So an example here, we will do record payment, and let's say someone is paying with cash. I still would need to take that cash to the bank, but we do want to record that that payment was made. So this is saying this is the invoice we're paying for today. Let's say they paid with a check today, and then record payment. And there we go. We have now created our price book. We made our categories. We made our items. We organized our items into those categories, created a job, created our job form, which in this case was an invoice, added items from our price book, sold it to the customer, took payment, and that is a full process of using the price book. Last thing before we get into our Q&A, we are going to learn how to upload a price book. So let me get my disclaimer out of the way here. If I go to more applications, price book, my price book, if you use the steps that we taught today, you'll be able to build out your price book how you want, organize it, have the pricing, have the different pricing strategies, set your costs so your profit and loss is correct. There's a lot of benefits to using and building out your price book here. That is a manual job. You will need to add product as many times as you have products to add, which takes time. And if you don't have that time, you could save time by loading a price book into your system. Maybe you already have an Excel file that has every single item that you sell with the pricing, the tax preferences, the costs, the income accounts. You can submit that to our data team and they can load that into your system and save you a ton of time of manual entry. To do this, you will go to More Applications, Data Center. And then you just follow the prompts here. It's going to ask, hi, welcome to Data Center. What do you want to do? I would like to submit a new price book upload. Let's get started. Obviously read through this. This is letting you know we only accept Excel files. If you have a PDF file with pricing, that won't work. If you have a Word document with pricing, that won't work. You do need an Excel file. I've had it before. Customer had a PDF with all their pricing. They would have to convert that to an Excel file. They thought, well, that'll probably take as much time as it would to just enter it in manually. So I'll just do it that way. But if you do have a way to get that into an Excel file, then you can submit that here. There's a couple options as well. If you have your own file and you know it's got all the info, select I have my own file and you'll submit that. If you're not sure, you don't have a template, we will populate a template for you that will be an Excel file you can open, edit, add all your stuff, then resubmit it. That way you know it's exactly what our data team needs to submit. And there you have it. So those are the different options. I'm not actually going to submit a price book today. So just so they're not confused, we'll hit them with a start over. And I think there's a close this chat. Yep, there we go. Okay. Before we get to our Q&A, let me show you where to find the replay. We do record all of our sessions, and you can watch a replay of this. I know some of you had to show up a little late today. So go to the Help Center, little smiley face guy, and then go to Video Courses and Webinars. This will then allow you to scroll down, and here are all of our past webinars. Today is Pricebook Basics, and so you'll find that recording right here. If you do have any questions, you can always reach out to customer support by clicking Contact Support. All right. That's all the information we have for today's presentation. I hope that you learned something. We're going to get to our Q&A now, but before we do, I just want to say thanks so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Pricebook Basics.